Oh no, Sam's gonna come home any minute now from work. I gotta clean this place. Oh no, here she comes. I'm getting out of here. Hey guys, I've got Disney's Hocus Pocus, the game, on the table here. Let me let you guys take a look at it real quick. This game obviously takes its IP from the movie Hocus Pocus from Disney. And so it has that children's horror theme to it. And what you're going to be doing in this game, this is a pattern building, kind of like an Uno type game. It's cooperative, and so everybody at the table is working together. And you are trying to stun one of the three Sanderson sisters, Sarah, Winifred, and Mary. I'll explain how you do that here in a second, but if you can do that 3 times throughout the course of the game before the draw pile runs out, then you win the game. How you do this game, everybody gets a hand of cards that's kept secret from all other players. And what you're trying to do is play cards on these spaces here that either match the color or the symbol of what is on that space. And so the cauldron starts with no cards on it. And on your turn, the first thing you get to do is you get to ask someone at the table if they have a particular color of card in hand or if they have a certain ingredient type. And all that person can say is either yes or no. And so I may ask the partner to my right or left or across the table, I may ask them, do you have an orange card? And they could say yes or no. Or I may ask them, do you have oil of boil? And they would again say yes or no. With that knowledge, I then have to play a card from my hand if I am able to. So if I have a card that matches one of the colors on the spaces or matches one of the ingredients, I have to play that. I have to play at least one card. And so I may play this card right here, oil of boil, because it matches the oil of boil. And now I have just changed that space from being blue to orange. And so that's how that works. After I play a card, I would then draw a new card and add it to my hand. Again, keeping it secret from everyone. And then the next player would go and they'd get to ask me a question and then they would play a card. And so they might play this card right here on top of the newt. And so what you can see we're doing is trying to make all of these spaces orange, because one of the ways to stun one of the sisters, specifically Sarah, is if all the ingredients are of the same color. And so if we could make all 5 stacks here be the same color, then we would stun Sarah. If we could have all ingredients match and have all 5 different colors, then we would stun Winifred. And if we would have all the ingredients match, then we would stun Mary. Whenever we do one of those 3 things, we take this stun token and we put it on top of the witch that we've stunned, and we would raise this up 1 space forward. Again, if we can do it 3 times by the end of the game, we win the game. And so, after you've stunned a witch, you gather up all the cards that are in the cauldron and you discard any that don't have a special symbol in the top left corner, and you remove them from the game. Any that do have a special symbol on them are going to stay in the game. So real quick, let me go over what these special symbols mean. This is Binks the cat, if you're a fan of the movie. And whenever you play Binks the cat, you're going to grab the Binks cat miniature here and choose to place it in front of a player, including yourself. And what this means is Binks is your friend, and whoever has this in front of them is going to get to play their hand open for the length of duration that they have Binks in front of them. And that way everybody knows what is in that player's hand. So it adds a bit of extra information to all the other players. Now at the end of the round, these will stay in the game. Whoever has the Binks loses Binks. He goes back away, and that character has to, or that player has to put their cards back in their hand. Now there are other cards that have this spell book icon, and this is how the game kind of attacks back at you. Whenever you play one of these cards, you have to draw one of the spell cards, and this represents the Sanderson sisters attacking you. So this particular one says it's played by Winifred, and so Winifred is doing this spell, and the reason why that's important is because if that particular witch has been stunned, then you ignore that spell and the game continues. But in this case, Winifred is not stunned, and so we would have to do what it says at the bottom. In this case, discard the top 5 cards from the ingredient deck. Now the reason why that's bad is because if this deck ever runs out, you lose the game. The sisters are able to complete their cauldron. And as I said, after you stun the witches, you're going to remove any of the regular cards from the game, not that one, but that one has no special symbol on it, and only the ones that have special symbols on them remain. So your deck is going to get smaller and smaller as the game continues. You do have these special tiles to help you in your quest, and so these are one-time use. As you can see on the left there, Circle of Salt, discard a spell, draw another spell. Daylight Savings, swap one ingredient with a player. Billy Butcherson, do not play an ingredient. And Burning Rain of Death, discard 3 ingredients, draw 3 ingredients. And those are one-time use, as I said. And so the game continues going back and forth trying to stun the sisters. You can stun the same sister over and over again. It doesn't matter. You just need to stun them a total of 3 times. And if you are able to do so, then as a team, you win the game and defeat the Sanderson sisters. And that is how you play Hocus Pocus. All right, so here's Sam and I doing a 2-player playthrough of Hocus Pocus the game. And if you guys want to check out that playthrough video, click the eye in the top right corner, and it'll take you right to it. Right now, we're going to share our thoughts on the game. Sam, what do you think about this game?
Well, I'm a very big fan of Hocus Pocus, so I was excited to play this, and it was easy to understand. It was fairly quick as well, but it was a challenging game, more so than I thought it would be when you see the layout. But trying to communicate with your teammate, trying to make sure you know what you're going for as far as which witch. But I liked it. I liked the puzzle aspect. I liked the challenge of it, and I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is definitely kind of one of those mind-reading games where you have to silently communicate with your teammate through the cards you play and the way you play them. There's definitely a puzzly aspect to that, like you said. I think for some, this can be frustrating, though. This can be a game that frustrates you to no end because you might have some idea in your mind as to what we're trying to accomplish, but the other players at the table might have something totally different in their minds. What's that like for you as a non-gamer?
Yeah, it was a little frustrating, but as a non-gamer as well, I'm not super competitive, so it was just fun. I didn't really care if we won or not, but I can see how it would be frustrating for someone who's really in it to win it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, because as a gamer, that is what I come to the table every time with in my mind. I have to win. We have to figure out a way to win. And
I just want to have a good time.
Yeah, and this being a cooperative game, we have to win all together, and you want to have everybody on the same page, and this game is a game that goes 100% in the opposite direction of that. It's trying to make it difficult for you to have everybody on the same page. And not being able to communicate, it just, makes that so much more difficult. That being said, I agree with you. I enjoy the puzzly aspect of this game, the challenge that it presents. It is difficult. I do believe that it's winnable, even though we have not won it yet.
Yes.
That seems to be a common trend in our cooperative games.
I don't know why.
But no, this is an enjoyable experience. I do think that the Binks, the component to the game of being able to reveal your hand is a good idea. However, in a 2-player game, I think you mentioned this, Sam, in our playthrough of it, that it's a little overpowered. It gives probably too much of an advantage, right?
Yeah, I don't really know what the alternative would be, because I do think there's some necessity to see each other's cards every once in a while, but I do feel like we were seeing each other's cards the entire game, right, because there's only 2 of us. So it would be interesting to play with 3 or 4 players.
Yeah, and maybe, you know, with a 2-player game, a house rule of maybe only showing half of your hand or 1 card or just something along those lines. But again, this game is challenging, so you might not need to do anything. So anyway, that being said, Sam, I know you love the theme here. You love the IP with Hocus Pocus. Do you feel like that played through in this game? Do you feel like there was witchcraftery of sorts in this game?
I mean, essentially it's a card game with a little bit of a Hocus Pocus element to it. I wouldn't say it's, you know, big bang Hocus Pocus everywhere. You could have changed it out for any characters. So I don't think so.
Yeah, I think the theme is a little pasted on. I think you're right. It is a card game, a pattern building mechanic that's kind of just pasted on, or that has Hocus Pocus pasted onto it. I do think there's a nostalgia factor there, though, with the spell cards and the tokens that you can play once per game. And the Binks little meeple token is cool to have. But I think you're right. I think the theme is just kind of added on there. So if you have friends out there that like Hocus Pocus, I think this would be a game that would pique their interest, and it'd be fun to play with them a time or two. I don't know that this is one that's going to have true lasting power, though. What do you think, Sam?
No, I don't think so. I would like to play it a few more times. I definitely want to play it with more people to see if, you know, the enjoyment or the challenge changes anymore, but probably not one that we will play a ton.
Right. So let's just get to our ratings of this game. I'll go first. I give this game probably a 5. And I don't want you guys out there to think a 5 is just absolute garbage. This game does have a lot of fun to it. It's just kind of falls into the category that a lot of cooperative games for me fall into, or can anyway, and that is, once I figure out the puzzle, is it still going to be fun? Is it still going to be one that I want to keep bringing to the table? And I don't know. I don't know that this one will be. So that's why I say a 5. It does have the nostalgia factor, which is fun for me. But other than that, it's just an okay game. What do you think, Sam?
I'd give it a 6.2.
6.2. Wow, very precise. Any reasons for that?
I liked it. I thought it was fun. I like the challenges. Is my type of game as far as like the puzzle building and things like that. It was not too difficult, but it's still challenging. So I liked it.
Okay. And as always, our ultimate question, is this a game that you would recommend playing with non-gamers?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially younger ones as well.
Okay. There you guys have it. All right. So this is an okay game. Good to play with non-gamers. Probably won't stick around for long, though. All right, for Lance and Sam, this has been Love to Hate. Check out our other content. We put it out weekly. Please like and subscribe. Until next time.